What's up, guys? This is Chris and Yellow from No Holding Back. Today, I want to take the time to talk about the Kanye West situation. Basically, what happened over the course of this week was, he said he was going to run for president. He had his first political campaign event that went horribly wrong, where he was yelling and saying that he should have been aborted. His mom saved him, and he wanted to abort his child as well, and that he got a message from God that told him otherwise, which is North, the first child that Kanye and Kim Kardashian had together. So I want to take the time to actually dissect this and go into deep focus about the situation, and just basically take the chance and time to defend Kanye West, because I feel a lot of people are shitting on him and he's being really misunderstood, and people are labeling him negative things like mentally ill, unstable, unfit for president. Yeah, maybe he's a celebrity and he's not the right candidate to run for presidency. So everyone has their own opinions for that, but I think we should just sit down and take the time to search up what he has. So Kanye West suffers from bipolar disease, which is a serious disease where I don't know, maybe I might not explain it in the best way, but basically it's one day you act normal, you're fine, and then you have an attack and you become something so different from what you originally are, and you start saying crazy things, doing crazy things that you normally wouldn't do, and it just affects the brain, obviously, and it just, people look at you as a strange and crazy person, and that's what Kanye is going through right now. So I want to take the time to talk about it, and today we got Alex helping us with the topic, and you can introduce yourself, man.
Thanks for having me. I've been a fan of Kanye for a while now. I've been really following him a lot on social media, and I'm pretty aware of what's been happening right now. And like Chris said, I think a lot of people get him wrong in the media. I think that it's hard to be a celebrity in this day and age where everyone is like constantly looking at you through a microscope through the media. And already Kanye's had this disease for a long time. Like in his album 2 years ago, he openly talks about it in his songs, like his album Ye. And like it's a hard reality for these people to go through it, and then they try and open up about it, and then the media constantly just goes after them. And there's a lot of people outside celebrities that also go through these issues. Like Kanye West is a good example because he's someone that's been famous for a long time. He's been around for at least like 20 years in the music industry. And he's not the only person to have this disease, There's a lot of people that around us that we might not even know that they have it. So it's tricky because in a certain way, someone can have it and no one can really expect it. Like there's no way of actually knowing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel that a lot of celebrities and regular people like me and you are afraid to come out and tell people what they suffer from, whether if it's bipolar disease or depression, suicidal thoughts that come with depression, obviously, and many more disorders.
Schizophrenia, could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that a lot of people are ashamed of having that, being born with that, or eventually developing those disorders with time. And they think they're going to be labeled as unfit or unqualified to participate in society and the events and jobs and whatever we have to be qualified for to be stable. And
there's still a really big stigma around it. Like that's why there's every year in Canada, for example, there's a Bell Let's Talk Day where you're supposed to talk about these things. But I still feel even with campaigns that happen like that, there's still a really, really big stigma around it. People are just scared to talk about it because they just feel embarrassed, and they don't feel like they're necessarily like the others, and not part of what that normal is being defined as, basically.
Yeah, and I have to say that I'm actually really surprised and fortunate to live in a time where celebrities like Kanye West are talking about these types of disorders and explaining what he goes through on a daily basis. And it's hard living with the Kardashians, with the type of lifestyle they live in and
Yeah.
the image that they have to glorify to the media.
Because they're
And
always they're always on media.
yeah,
They're always trying to maintain
exactly.
their image.
And quotes that could be taken straight from Twitter, where he said that his wife is
Trying to
a
lock him
white
up.
supremacist and trying to lock him up.
He considered getting a divorce at one point because they apparently Meek Mill denied this, but apparently that she had an affair with Meek Mill. They were married.
Yeah,
and just the whole called Kris Jenner Kris Jong-un or something.
Yeah, because he thinks that she's like a dictator. She runs the whole family.
Yeah.
The nickname for her is actually the momager.
Yeah. Even in the episodes, with the Kardashians.
So, I don't think Kanye is really a big fan of that lifestyle, that family. And, there's also rumors circulating right now that he doesn't want his kids to really see their grandmother and, too much of their family, because they don't want to get, as he would say it, corrupted by them.
Yeah.
And they're, non-believers, as he quotes in one of his songs.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. If you had kids in that aspect where you're constantly surrounded by the media, I think at one point there's a certain aspect of privacy that Kanye would have. He's been pretty closed up about his situation. He's been trying to open up through his music, but people still aren't taking him seriously. So at the same time, it's hard for him to try and open up when no one's still taking him like the person that he should be.
And maybe that's why he's having attacks like this. Maybe he feels like he's losing all hope, and no matter what he will do, for people to change their perspective on him, it's just gonna keep on coming back and haunting him, and people are gonna continue labeling him all these negative things. And obviously, the things that he's saying are ridiculous and out of context, and people would never imagine celebrities to sound off like that. But we have to understand that he does suffer from bipolar disease, and it's a real disorder, and it's not fake. People want to say that
real.
People want to say that disorders are not real and they're used as excuses to defend your actions, but they are, and those people are just in denial, and they just live in a fantasy.
It's a different life, man. And the thing with Kanye too is that when he started his career, he was very, very close with his mom, and they made it through very rough patches in Chicago, South Side, all that. And so as soon as he started hitting fame, his mom was there to support him. And then a few years later, after he released Graduation, his mom passed away. So definitely still has a very, very big impact on him. He's still talking about her today. He's releasing a song soon dedicated to her. I think his new album is apparently dedicated to her as well. And after she passed away, he released 808s and Heartbreaks, which is arguably one of his worst albums by critics. But it's just when that happens in your head and you get depressed and you get these, already he was bipolar at the time probably, and you try and express it through your music a bit, but people still back then didn't take him seriously. And today it's still looked at as a good album because he went through a dark time and he tried overcoming it through his music. And I think that's still what he's trying to do. Even a few years ago when he released his album Ye that he recorded in Wyoming, he talks about it openly in his songs. He talks about how he doesn't want his daughter to be in the media, and how he wants to have a private lifestyle. And he talks about all of his struggles basically. And still, people are still critiquing him for his music and saying, oh, well, he's saying all these crazy things, but it's because he actually suffers. What if, when he had that campaign recently, what if he was going through an episode? What if he was going through one of those attacks that he has when he's bipolar? You can't know that. You can't know what's happening in someone's head. That's the big problem at hand too.
Do you think, and this might be taken from other people in the wrong context, but do you think that a president or someone that runs for president that suffers from a disease like this should be excluded from participating in political campaigns?
I mean, it definitely plays a big part. You want someone that's deemed as competent to run for president, but Kanye is very competent in his own way. I think that he has a different vision from everyone, and sure, he has this disorder, but at the end of the day, he's just a human being like anyone else. I think everyone deserves a fair chance to run, and he has the fame, he has the power to do it. So I say, why not? He's already running, he's already showing his interest for it, and at this point, it's just about him trying to either follow through with it because he's been having doubts. Like he's like, oh well, do you guys still want me to run or not? Like let me know. But it's I think people should be given fair chances despite these issues that they have.
And I feel that a lot of people that do support him may be only supporting him because they want Donald Trump out of the office.
Yeah,
So if that's the reason why you're supporting him,
that's a different
it's
story.
completely
Maybe, yeah.
like I would say it's really wrong because you don't really support his ideas. You support just another person besides Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe do your research and really get to know Kanye West and see if you feel okay and if you're in agreement with he has planned
Yeah.
for the upcoming election, if he even gets there somehow.
Yeah.
And
There's a long way to go still.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a lot of steps, and I think the problem too is that he signed up very late to run for president. Like we're almost at the end of the year, and he decided, okay, well let me run. But so now he's asking people to sign him up in their local county so that they could actually be eligible for people to vote for him. Like I think that was one of the moves that maybe he should have planned a bit better. But I don't think realistically he could win. Like I don't think 350 million Americans are gonna try and vote for him and see him as a fit president. I think they're mostly gonna go with like Trump and Biden. But I think it's good for celebrities to show their interest, and I think just because that he has mental health issues, that he shouldn't be deemed as someone that has a fair chance.
I just feel that him going and trying his best to get a chance at becoming president, it may give a stigma to other celebrities about running for the office. Because think about it this way, if he screws up and he looks like a fool, people are not going to only say Kanye West was never fit in the first place, he should have never been running for president, but other celebrities should do their research, actually become politicians, and become fit and deemed okay to run for this election. And Ronald Reagan was a actor, and then became a president. So I mean, a lot of people used to make fun of him back then for becoming president eventually. But look what happened. He's actually deemed one of the top 10 best presidents ever in American history.
All from being an actor.
Yeah, and people judged him as not worthy, and saying that
Not
how
fit,
come
basically.
a celebrity could actually, with no political past, run for office.
Well, there's also the opposite too. Like Trump, he was a big businessman. He had all the Trump Towers and everything, and he ran for president without any political knowledge. But a lot of people argue with the fact that he's just not a good president. Like he hasn't been doing a good job, especially with the whole pandemic situation. He's doing a pretty terrible job, if you ask me. He basically runs America like it's a business. But not to get too much into politics, but I think that even if you don't have a necessarily political background, if you know enough and if you do your research properly and you sign up a few years before running and you do the whole process properly, I think anyone could be president, man. That's the whole point of politics. Anyone could become a politician if you try and if you represent a district. And it doesn't mean that you have prior past, like any stories from the past. If you're an actor, musician, businessman, if you're a billionaire, even that guy Bloomberg was going to run this year.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire and he wanted to run. I think that a lot of people have chances to run in their own ways. And I don't think mental health issues have that big of a part. Like there's so much more to being a president than just how mentally fit you are. And it's how society sees it too at the same time.
Yeah, social media does not help people with these disorders, and it's really, really unfortunate because we think that we're adapting and starting to be more open to these types of things, but in reality we're still continuing with past mistakes. We're not necessarily learning.
We're not progressing
completely. We're not progressing properly as it's advertised, as they would say. Going back to Kanye, do you think that he's only doing this kind of stuff to promote his new album?
Well, I mean, that's a tricky question. It's not necessarily only to promote his album, but it's also mostly to promote his candidacy too. I would say like he's getting a lot of media attention. But keep in mind, he's had episodes like this in the past where he goes on Twitter rants. Like his Twitter account is known for being the one with like the most random quotes that like he just goes off. He doesn't have a filter. That's the thing. And this whole time you can tell that he has his own issues to deal with. But who are we to say that he can't do what he wants with those issues? It's his business at the end of the day. And what's also sad in a sense is that he's worth billions of dollars, and with that money you could probably pay the best therapists in the world to come help you. And is he getting help? Well, that's up for debate. I mean, obviously we're not part of his personal life, but I just hope that he is getting help, because you can tell by all the things that he's saying, like whether he's doing it or not for attention, whether he's doing it because it's part of his disease, whether or not he's promoting an album, he's promoting a presidency, he's still doing it, period. And I think if he doesn't get the help that he needs, it's still going to keep going and going and going, and it could be a turn in the wrong direction if it keeps getting worse.
Because a lot of people, and this is like not the first time this would happen, but in the past, where he officially said one day I'll run for president.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was like what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. His album dropped not so long after that.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh my god, it was
a
publicity stunt. He did it on purpose. And now he announced that he's coming out with a new album. And
tomorrow, actually, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow night or tonight.
Oh, wow. Well,
it's happening soon.
Yeah, and there's so much speculation about that. Like, again, this is like the second time now.
Yeah.
And now you're involving politics, and the media is all over you. You're Kanye West. You're always going to be listened to, no matter what. So, do I think is he doing it as a publicity stunt? I don't think so, because he's one of the best rappers in the game. Okay, despite everything he's saying, despite everything he's done, who he's married to, the family he's a part of.
Yeah.
People love or hate him, you're still gonna listen to his music.
Yeah.
I remember
he sells records at the end of the day, man. He's making one of the best-selling artists. Like, you can't deny that.
I remember as a 12-year-old kid, listening to Stronger. Yeah. Okay, which is one of the most used workout songs ever. Okay, one of the biggest ones out there. That was my first rap song I've ever listened to.
Yeah.
Okay, or hip hop song, whatever you want to call it. Before that, I only believed in listening to classic rock and roll. Okay.
Yeah.
I listened to this guy, and because of him, it led to me to not only listen to other songs he dropped,
the whole genre.
But the whole genre, exactly. Other guys like Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Biggie, all those guys. Because I needed to understand the past, the beginning of hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
To fully understand what it had become during that time.
Yeah.
Until this day, I listen to Kanye and I listen to other rappers and the new ones.
Influence.
Yeah, because of him, I opened up and decided to listen to something new, and I liked it. I could have easily not liked his music, but I did. But it was catchy. Yeah. Yes, his classics are always gonna be his classics, gonna be very hard to beat. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's only normal because he started off with hits.
Yeah.
Now he's not doing it for the people. He's doing it for himself. He's writing music that's personal to him.
He put out a gospel album last year. I mean, that's definitely, he was on his own journey to find God, and he made it about himself. He doesn't care about sales anymore, man. He's proven what he has to prove.
Yeah, and I honestly, people that trash him about him being a believer in God and, and thinking he's like a savior and he's going to help guide the way and save a lot of people. You know what? We honestly need more people like that. People that actually believe in peace, equality, and positivity.
Finding God.
Yeah. How can you hate a guy, even though he suffers from bipolar disease, even though you label him as so many crazy things, okay? Because he believes in God. Just because he says things that are unusual, but that's how much he's committed.
Yeah.
And how much he's willing to spread God's word.
Yeah.
And trying to make a difference in this world. Trying to change society for the better.
Yeah.
You could not hate someone for doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel that just because a lot of us are maybe atheists now, or we believe in other religions, or maybe we don't believe in anything, so basically atheist.
Yeah.
But we trash him. But if we go back to a time, in the 20th century, where a lot of people believed in God, and you had him say things like this,
Yeah.
be a huge believer in God,
Hmm.
People would not hate him as much. They would actually respect him more.
Praise him. They would praise him for doing that.
But now times have changed, society has changed, and social media wants to ruin him.
People don't put as big of an importance as they did in the past on religion. I think, especially in these times where there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, like, a gospel album isn't what people necessarily want to be hearing right now. But I think, like Chris said, it's the opposite. I think people should be happy that someone's actually trying to promote good faith and goodwill and positive thoughts. Like, I think it's hard to try and promote things through music and make people take you seriously. I mean, his album that just came out, Jesus is King, like, people thought it was his worst album ever. But if you really listen to the lyrics, he's focusing on God, he's focusing on Jesus, he's focusing on him finding his faith. There's songs called Follow God, where he's talking about following God, and he's just trying to make it a personal album, like Chris said. And keep in mind, someone like Kanye West, his album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, has been widely considered as the best album of the 2010s. Every single year it has been number one. People consider him as one of the best artists. And now he's taking it to a personal level. He's trying to promote God through his music, which is actually what people need to be hearing, like Chris said. And people are still giving him hate for it and still criticizing him, saying, oh, where's the old Kanye? We miss the old Kanye. Well, he's trying to take it to another level.
Didn't he say that in a song?
Yeah, one of his songs in 2016. He has his own song called like I Love Kanye or something like that. And he goes on like, I miss the old Kanye, shit from the go Kanye, chop up the soul Kanye. Like, now he's just changing, and I think he's changing for the better. I mean, if he wouldn't have found God, I think he would have been in an even darker place than he is now. And I think at least it's helping him go through the different mental issues that he's going through at the moment.
Like, people need to find ways to cope.
Exactly.
People need ways to stay positive and to continue finding a reason why to live. And he found God.
Exactly.
And this is what's keeping him to live.
His
kids
factor,
are keeping him to live.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have the best relationship with his wife. Maybe it might lead into a divorce.
He has 4 kids that he loves.
But it's the kids and God what's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Being a father to kids that are alive and well, rather than abandoning them, like his father did.
Exactly.
He is honestly an inspiration in a lot of ways. Okay.
Yeah.
And people do not understand him, and that's why we named this podcast episode Kanye West, a complex musical genius, because his music is honestly ahead of its time.
Oh man, every album he's put out has been ahead of its time. You look at Yeezy when it came out 8 years ago. People thought it was, or 7 years ago, people thought it was terrible. They're saying, what is this? Like, new style. And now people are looking back and calling it a breakthrough album, how it opened up everyone's ears to new music, new sounds, new styles. Every single album that he's put out, you look at 808s and Heartbreaks, the one that he put out after his mom passed away. Like I said, just same thing with Yeezy. People thought it was a bad album at first. They're saying, oh, what are these new sounds and whatever. You look at songs like Heartless, songs like Paranoid, songs like Love Lockdown. You hear them now, they sound like they were released like last year, and they were released 13 years ago almost. You can't deny the fact that he's had such a lasting impact on music, whether it was producing beats for Jay-Z or Graduation, College Dropout. You look at those albums now and you're like, wow, even back then he was ahead of his time, ever since the beginning of his career. And now, maybe he's not necessarily ahead of his time anymore. Maybe he's putting gospel music, but who knows? Maybe he's going to lead others to go through that path as well. Maybe they're going to start getting more personal to their music. Maybe they're going to start promoting their own things that they believe in, trying to tell people to find God and find it in yourself, to find positivity and have a better view on life.
And it's not only that. We live in a day and age where all we talk about is sex, drugs,
likes, Instagram likes, followers,
Yeah, breakups and stuff.
breakups, all
But
this drama,
but it's
superficial stuff, man.
yeah. So when we listen to that, okay, imagine having a really bad day, going inside your car, opening the radio, and it's more depressing stuff adding to that.
Yeah, the news
Okay,
about they talk about the pandemic every day just to constantly remind you of how bad everything is going right now.
maybe even worse than it actually is.
Mhm.
And the problem with that is that you should be playing positive music.
Yeah, trying to
That
get people in a better mood.
that keep you actually on your toes and like, you know what? It's just one bad day. Let's move on. Let's do this together as a team. I got good friends, good people who love me,
Put you
girlfriends,
in a good mood.
boyfriends, parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, aunts, the whole shebang. And I remember personal story. When I'm not feeling too good and a little bit under the weather, I open the radio and I'm like expecting a good song that's gonna put me back into
Yeah.
good spirits.
Yeah.
Instead, it's about breakups, killing. Uh, I don't even know what else I listen to, but it's just what I'm trying to say is that it's all depressing stuff. I have to create my own music on Spotify, just to make songs that appeal to me
Yeah.
and make me feel better. And
That's why
Kanye is on that list. Yeah, I have at least about 10 songs on my playlist. I have a lot of playlists, okay?
different genres,
Yeah.
anything,
But I have a hip hop playlist that's, very impactful when I'm sad and really changes my mood and it makes me really happy. And I have at least out of the 200 songs I have there I have 10 Kanye
Yeah.
songs, and that shows how much of an impact he has been on my life and hopefully yours, Alex,
Yeah,
and a lot
my
of people's
God.
too.
I think I have like 100 Kanye songs on my playlist, man. I have leaks, I have unreleased stuff. Like, I think he has such a big impact on hip hop, which is probably my favorite genre. And every time he puts out an album, there's always songs that I like. Whenever I'm in a bad mood, you could put out Ultralight Beam. Like, that's just such a deep song for like everyone to listen to. He could make music for any moods. If you want to stay sad, he has sad songs. You listen to Streetlights on 808s and Heartbreaks, my God, you're gonna go start crying. Like, it's such an emotional song. And you listen to Only One that he made with Paul McCartney, my God, like I could cry to that song basically. But on the other hand, there's music that just uplifts you, man. There's Power, Stronger. There's all these songs, New Slaves, so many songs that make me hype. They make me better mood. They make me, make me want to sing all the lyrics and get back into that vibe.
Or a nice pump up too at the gym.
Yeah, exactly. You work out, just get that energy out.
Yeah, and Kanye has to be one of the best rappers still alive and in the game right now. Even though he changed the type of music that he records and drops
Yeah, but
every new
yeah.
album, yeah, he changed his style. He's not the old Kanye, as
Yeah.
he said.
I think he's coming back to his roots. He just put out a sample for Donda, like one of the songs of his new album. Watch this new album; it's probably going to be like his old stuff. You listen to that sample, you get a sample. I think it's from KRS-One, which is like one of the biggest '80s, '90s hip hop groups. He's going back to that vibe. But regardless of that, what's even more important for me is that he's still trying to talk about his personal life through his songs. His album in 2018, on the cover of the album, it says, "I hate being bipolar. It's awesome." You could already tell from that title he's gonna go deep into that topic. And you look at other celebrities, it disappoints me that they're not open about it. These people, like that, the problem with the media is that they're constantly looking at them. You look at people who have unfortunately passed away due to suicide. Look at Anthony Bourdain. You look at Kate Spade. You look at Chester Bennington. You look at Robin Williams. Robin Williams, who made comedy movies for everyone to laugh at, put people in good moods his whole life, and deep down he's going through this. And he passed away, he took his own life because of it. I mean, people have to realize that it's okay to get help. If you're Kanye West and you could afford it, go get a therapist. Talk about it through your music, vent about it. Make people understand what you're going through. I think it's important for you to be heard. I think the problem is that a lot of celebrities, they don't get taken seriously. Look at Kanye, man. He's been saying all these things about his candidacy, about all of the rants that he's been on. Slavery was a choice. Oh, Harriet Tubman didn't really free the slaves. Oh, I wanted to abort. he's going through it. He's going through his own things, and he's saying that because it's what he thinks. People could always disagree with what you have to say, but at least Kanye is strong enough in him to talk about it, to talk about his disease, to actually make people listen to him and listen to what he has to say through his music, through his tweets, through anything.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's also the fact that Kanye is being very, very, not only I wouldn't even say he's the opposite of being cautious. He's putting his beliefs and his personal life on every single album. He wants people
Yeah.
to understand what he's going through, and music is the best therapy,
Yeah.
as they say.
Yeah.
And for him to feel better is by other people understanding what he's going through.
Yeah.
When you listen to a song, don't only listen to the beats
The lyrics
and the
have
yelling
yeah.
and the guitar solos and everything. Listen to what the singer is saying. Maybe there's more meaning to it than just a song just to make money off.
Open up Genius, like go on those apps, look at the lyrics, take the time to actually read what people have to say in songs. I mean, it's so easy to get carried away and to make people just listen to like all the instrumentals, the freestyles, the beat, the producer, people like Metro Boomin, they're making all these beats. Take the time to just open up one of his albums, read what he has to say, read all the lyrics, what he's going through, feel what he's trying to make you feel through his music.
Like, he's very brave. That's what I tried saying before,
Yeah.
but I lost total focus of what I was going to say. Yes, he's very brave because a lot of celebrities do not put a lot of work into what they want to do like he does. He takes his personal problems and uses that as motivation to work harder, to make better music in his eyes, even though people may disagree. Perfect example is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
if you guys don't already know, suffered from depression for so many years. This guy is like Robin Williams, okay? He made comedy what it is right now
Yeah.
by using his depression as a catalyst to push him harder and harder and harder
Yeah.
to be the best comedian during that era in the 90s, and dropping hit after hit after hit. He wouldn't be there without being a person suffering from depression because he had motivation. He's like, I'm not going to let depression beat me. I'm going to use it to motivate me and to make people laugh because that's what makes me happy. That is the antidote to my happiness, to cure my disease of depression. If I could put a smile on that guy's face, okay, make that woman laugh, make those kids love me and watch those movies, not only do you feel loved, you feel appreciated. The depression is going to be there because I don't think you could really cure depression, but it's going to decrease.
You can definitely treat it. You can.
Yeah, it's a treatment.
Yeah.
That's their way of treating it. Same thing with Robin Williams, And both those guys overcame their problems for many years. Unfortunately, it caught up to Robin Williams. Rest in peace. He would have been 69 this week. And not only that, I just want to say that more celebrities should be more brave that suffer from disorders like this, and use this as a catalyst to push them, to motivate them, and obviously it's gonna create great stuff for people to enjoy. And if people don't enjoy it, at least they could be proud of themselves and be like, you know what, I did what I had to do, what many people do not have the courage to do. And that's the only thing I could say about that.
If you look, I'm just reading through lyrics right now, trying to find an example. If you look at his album that he put 2 years ago, where he really goes into the topic, he goes into deep. You have to listen to his lyrics. Like, you listen, it says, "Get so bright, it's no sun. Get so loud, I hear none. Screaming so loud, got no lungs. Hurt so bad, I go numb." Like, he's talking about his own situation, how he's hurting inside, how he wants to scream, and he's trying to talk about everything that's going on in his life. You look at violent crimes, for example. He's talking about his own daughter, how, he's scared of the karma. He sees women as something to nurture and not something to conquer. I mean, how many people have really taken the time to read what he has to say? You look at albums like Jesus is King, where he goes into the topic about his religion. You look at Ye, where he goes into the topic about his bipolar disease. I think a lot of celebrities should, and not only celebrities, anyone. I think it's important to talk about, yourself and your mental health, because at the end of the day, it's the most important thing is making sure that you stay sane and making sure that you're happy and that you see this life as life that's worth living. I mean, we've seen me, Chris and I, for example, one of the reasons why we got inspired for this episode is that someone that we're very close to recently opened up to us about his mental issues and how he's been going through a lot. Like, I'm not gonna get into any names or any like serious things, but how he's had depression and suicidal thoughts and how it's
Bipolar disease as well.
bipolar disease, OCD, ADHD, a bunch of stuff going on. And I think people should take example from that and open up to people that you can trust, or open up to therapists, get the help that you need to actually open up so that people could be aware of your situation and you could try and get help and try and get solutions. I think Kanye West should be used as an example for that, because not only is he trying to promote it through his music, but he actually took the risk to do it despite what people have to think. If you're an artist, right, and you have a musical talent, I mean, why not go into depth, go into that topic? It shouldn't be about critiques or the media at the end of the day. It should be about yourself, getting people to listen, getting people to understand what it's like to go through it.
But unfortunately, we live in a society where people like that are deemed not normal, and they're not they're not fit, or they're not like, we're not accustomed to those types of people because they're different, and different means you're crazy, you don't belong.
You're not like the rest of society. You're different.
And for that, we need to treat you like garbage, and that is so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I think social media needs to calm down.
Yeah.
People need to understand and listen, and a lot of bullying
it's way
goes
too
on
much, man. It's
because of social
non-stop.
media, especially people that suffer from disorders like this. Imagine suffering from this and getting bullied for it.
Getting called out, past things that you've said, recent things that you've said, being critiqued. Like Chris said, it's already hard enough as it is to go through that. And then people are just adding on to it. They're going even more into detail. They're saying, oh, well, why are you doing this? This person's crazy, man. He doesn't think like anyone else is going on. I mean, people shouldn't be so quick to have opinions on these things, because like the example that I gave before with someone that we're close to that went through it, there was no way that we could have known that he was going through this. That's the tricky part about these issues, is that it's so easy to miss on someone, and unless they openly talk about it, it's almost impossible. You look at people like Chester Bennington. There was a sad story about him. They said that the week before he passed away, he was spending time with his family. He was smiling, he was having such a good time, and his wife had no idea that he was going through this. And then he unfortunately took his own life, and only after that people started realizing what he went through, and maybe it was the last week of his life, so he was taking advantage of it. It's so hard to see it in someone, and that's the importance of just being able to talk about it. Go talk with your family, your friends, people that you can actually trust with the issue. Don't keep it inside, because then you're gonna have people where they keep it inside and it eats them up. At least, people like Kanye, they're talking about it through their songs. I mean, our friend who came and approached himself to us and opened up and talked about a situation. There should be more people doing that, because it's been a topic of discussion for so many years. There's been Bell Let's Talk every year. There's been constant events trying to promote it, and it's still going on. Like, it's still a big problem.
I just wanted to shout him out right now and say thank you for being honest with us.
Thanks
and
for opening up.
and opening up. Because we took it seriously, but like with the topic of disorders and mental health being very important nowadays, but we didn't take it as serious because we never had somebody that very close to us until now.
It's effective,
that has it.
yeah.
Yes,
It gave us a wake up call.
Yeah,
in a sense.
The person waited a long time to tell us.
Yeah,
but it was still done. And it's never too late to be open.
exactly.
So all I wanted to say is thank you so much, Alex, today for opening up.
My pleasure.
And
Thanks for having me, man.
no problem. And expressing how you felt about Kanye. You're very knowledgeable with music, but not only that, you have a big heart when it comes to understanding these types of disorders.
Yeah.
And not only have you been affected by this personally,
Yeah. And my
with a close
family,
friend,
myself,
and now we have a better understanding of that, and we could continue to become better people as we get older. So I just want to take the time to just say, if you're going through anything, if you need someone to talk to, don't be ashamed. Open up. It's very important. There is people that are willing to listen, family, friends, anyone who loves you. Even therapists, psychologists, whoever you want to go to and talk to, teachers, professors, principals, whatever, anyone that is willing to listen. So I have links for Canada and
United States as
the
well.
US, obviously. Uh, but those are numbers that you guys could call if you're ever feeling depressed, or you want to take your own life, or you need someone to talk to, you want to book an appointment with a therapist. Those are uh, obviously there are two countries that we're very familiar with, that are very English speaking, and that are probably listening to our podcast right now. But yeah, I also left a link in the description below that you guys could click on, and they have numbers and websites that you could contact all over the world. So Brazil, Argentina, Ireland, England, France, Spain, you name it. Anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
there's numbers that you could call. So click on that description if you're feeling sad or depressed or anything we've talked about today. Don't be afraid. We are here to listen. Thank you so much, guys. Stay safe. Be open. Don't be scared. Be brave. We love you guys. Thank you for listening.